How is everybody doing? Hope everybody had a good week. Let me make sure everything is popping here. Looks like it should be. Welcome to Friday Night Live, the Toy Armada. I am Aaron Archer. You have found yourself on the internet with nothing better to do than talk about plastic toys tonight. And welcome. We're going to have a good time tonight. A lot of good stuff revealed today with the Hasbro Pulse Con, and we're going to talk about some of that today. Give you my opinion on some of the toys that I was around for the kickoff for. So that is pretty cool. All right. Let everybody trickle in here. T-Formers. I got you and somebody else confused. T-Formers, am I doing sea spray for you? How's it going, Shattered? Ben, Bigum, Juan, one and all. How is everybody doing? I have had a busy week, but a good week. Let's see. All right. Bing Bong Toys, how are you? Welcome. Every time I do this. All right, sea spray. Well, you want a sneak peek? Do you want a sneak peek? I got him, I don't know, more than half done, maybe. Maybe. If you want to see a sneak peek, I will show them to you. But everybody gets to see it. So I am Aaron Archer, a former Hasbro Kenner toy designer. I spent a lot of time on Transformers, Batman, Alien Resurrection, a lot of Japanese brands. And I've been freelancing since I left Hasbro back in the 2016 zone. So we usually talk about Transformers, and that's where we're going to start today with some of the PulseCon things. So here's where we are so far with sea spray. So it'll change quite a bit there. Looks like he's got a big pig nose, but that won't be there by the time it ends. So there you go. That's what these things look like partially the way through. All right. And most people don't realize, but I also have like a little sticker that makes them authentic on the back. So there you go. In progress. In progress. Kind of like this guy here. In progress. So, yeah. So I thought we would talk about a few of the robots that came out today. Open to any discussion about what they talked about today, but mostly I'm going to talk about ones that I had a connection with at the beginning. So, hey, Larry. Shari. All right, so let's get into it. The first one that is awesome is to see this Energon Megatron. I'll go through these and then go back. So that's the vehicle mode they showed. There's one robot mode. There's the basic robot mode, and there he is with his Armada carapace kind of weapon. We'll get the tidal wave. So the original looked like this, quite a bit bigger than this one's going to be, which is fine. Pretty cool. Definitely kept the overall look, which I always felt looked a little like like a duck or some sort of goose flying. Not intentional. That's just kind of how it ended up with everything. Now, original concept for Megatron here was that he obviously got bigger. We wanted to take him from ground-based to maybe fly. And we called this a gunship at the time. That was kind of how we referred to it, because he had been a tank, and so the gunship. I like that they, again, when we talk about the Armada figures, this applies to Energon as well. The gimmick was the Energon reveal and the kind of pieces expanding or opening up. So all that detail on the wing. Let's see. Yeah. Doesn't need to be there with the opening up part of it anyway. So that's all cool. I think they did a good job translating this into a much smaller format. I think it's pretty cool. We've gotten Bendy Prime in the past, so why not do a Megatron at a more modest scale? At least you get them. One of the problems with overall heroes and villains in general is that you know they're going to sell, and you put a lot of focus on them, so you want them to be your stars, your big items. And that means they're always in these upper price points, and it's nice at times with Bendy Prime and something like this to be able to get a main hero or villain at a different scale price. I love the redeco of this one, and I assume they're gonna do that. So there's that. Let's see. All right. Huh. Where's my robot mode? There we go. So pretty good, faithful adaptation. When I had done the deco for these items, we wouldn't have known how the animation was going to interpret them. And I think when I used the blue on this guy, I don't know, didn't strike the Japanese as villain exactly, but so here we are. Looks pretty good. Again, for the scale and everything, kind of fun. The design of this one was clearly based off of G1 Galvatron, even if it isn't in the colors. Okay. So that's the Megatron. Hey, Windcharger. Did I not do the timed? Ugh. Yeah. I wonder. Hey, Ninja. I wonder if it got screwed up. Yeah, I wondered if I started a second stream. Sorry about that. Yeah, it was a flying goose. That is true. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think we've gotten a lot in the way of Energon updates. I think they did that Hotshot? Or was that Cybertron Hotshot? I think that was Cybertron Hotshot. Energon's a weird one. Got a lot of great toys and sits on its own, but again, doesn't always resonate. All right, where am I here? There's Thundertron. So, good old Thundertron. This character it's interesting that we had a first toy. It's really interesting that there's a second toy. This was obviously part of a whole larger part of the Align continuity. It certainly was in part of a novel. it got kind of kludged into Prime because that's what was happening at the time instead of the aligned continuity. So I always like to point out that this character is not a Prime character. Might be Prime continuity in some content, but this was largely something a little bigger. So cool to see him here. We were trying to, at the time, create not necessarily a third faction, but certainly new story space to use and get beyond just always Autobots and Decepticons. Even though I had spent a good amount of time pulling all that stuff back together, it was time to have some new kind of different angles on stories. You know, the Wreckers were out and things like that. So there was opportunity. And I don't know if this one has the peg leg or not. It looked like the art had the peg leg, but I guess the toy doesn't. It's one of the figures I actually still have. So there's the original, and you can see some of the clear elements that I think... when this came out, it was an exclusive, I believe, in China. And then came over here as some other internet promotion, I think, or exclusive. You know, kind of weird because we were developing him for a bigger opportunity, and then it all kind of changed. And so, but we had this opportunity to make the toy. So it really is interesting that this guy is here. Okay. Strange, all right. Some of my images look like they disappeared. Huh. That doesn't make sense. All my Thundertron guys. Huh. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, I got some of them, but not all of them. Wow, that really stinks. Some of these didn't pop up. All right, well, Thundertron is cool. They got a lot of opportunity with that cat mode. So Thundertron, I don't know if I want to go into the whole story, but it was a whole different take on what if there was a golden age of Transformers and Cybertronian life populated the universe. What did that look like on the far end of that space bridge chain that kind of converted over and was like looking to really benefit from a closer relationship with Cybertron when it got closed off, and he wanted to go wreak some havoc on these Cybertronians that interrupted his world's flow. So different kind of character, kind of was a good way for us to pull together a lot of lost, interesting characters that otherwise didn't have a place to live, which is obviously the tidal wave was the ship that they were flying in, which was really cool to bring that out. So we'll see where they go with that, and we'll see what kind of story they create. Yeah, did they use him for an Alpha Trion too? Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so I got my Legacy Prime on the shelf, waving everybody. He's having a good day. Kind of like Star Trek Deep Space Nine. A little bit of that. It was largely going to be a way to kind of bring Beast back into it a little bit, but also just have a whole different attitude. You know, someone that didn't care about Autobots or Decepticons. Had a whole different vibe. So, and then we got this guy, which all my other pictures are not popping up. So I was on the Batman team when sitting next to Beast Wars designers when this guy would have been developed, and I remember the product and the VM and everything. Really cool item, and you know, I've been talking a little smack here and there that this is one they need to redo if they're going to redo Beast Wars guys. So really cool to see it there. Finally getting his due. So unfortunately, that means my Hot Shot redecos didn't come through. So we can talk about that, even though I don't have the pictures, which totally stinks. Yeah. They're just not there anymore. That's weird. So, I think the redeco of Hot Shot's pretty cool. Very faithful to the original Power Links redeco. We got the Minicon Jolt, so that's cool. Definitely cartoon colors, more of the salmon than the neon or the hazard orange that our product had. So cool to see that. Cool to see the little weapons parts added to it. So pretty cool. Did Thundertron have a third mode? I don't believe so. And Thundertron is kind of my attempt to sit on Thundercats and Voltron. So Thundertron is based off of that. And that's why he's a lion. And lions always did well with Takara and stuff too. But you could see in the original, he had the Starseeker affiliation icon. And if they tie him into Zoids in some way, that'd be crazy. It'd be interesting. Do I have a Legacy Megatron? Yes, he is right there. He's got a hot rod standing on him and a rescue bot, Ultra Magnus or somebody, Optimus, in front of him. Yeah, I wonder if they'll do a Jetfire. Overload would be tough. Maybe if they, I don't know, they could create a more modest weapon system that turned into a vehicle and a robot that maybe could be Overload, that would be more a different scale. Yeah, Tigerhawk does look pretty good. We are missing a Fusor at this point, right? I don't think we've had one. Did they do Quick Strike? That would be cool. How does it feel to know that Legacy Armada Prime got voted the best figure of the year? Okay, so where is that? Nope. There it is. So this is I didn't hear them talking about it, so I don't know what was actually said. But it looks like Optimus was voted the toy of the year in the line, so that's cool. I think I'm with Proto Man. You know, they voted Skybite is the RID item, which is no big surprise, but at the same time, he has had some love. So, unfortunate we won't see somebody different, but awesome figure for sure. So yeah, it's very cool. It's great design. They did a great job interpreting it into a modern sense, and it's a lot of fun. It's an Optimus. I think people are really had a lot of G1-ish Optimus, so this one's a little different. So I think it's pretty interesting. I hope people are, responding well to it. So that's pretty cool, T-Formers. Hey, Aaron, I'm not a writer, but I have a story in my head. Well, there's two things you're kind of talking there. If you have a story in your head, write it. If you think you have a story that you can convince giant corporations to make, and they don't know you, and independently, just because it's a great story, that I don't know how to navigate those waters. That's a lot of that's more difficult, obviously. But get it out. Just get it out. Show people. How do you feel about the Legacy Armada figures compared to the originals? I like them. I think they're made with the right goals in mind. Better articulation, more show accurate. Take out the feature gimmicks to focus on articulation and that. So they're great. Every toy is kind of designed for different reasons under different budgets and timings at the time. So I think they did a great job. Tiger Hawk is the first new fuser. Yeah, I guess he is a fuser, isn't he? Quick Strike would be cool. Yeah, it's strange. The what we all thought were maybe the Rock Lords, and they have their own angle on that. Those are made up figures, so people have been asking why don't they make new figures. So those are some of them. But is that better than a Quick Strike? I don't know. I agree with you. There's nothing unfortunate about Skybite, sir. Fair enough. Hey, Princeton Phalanx, how are you? Yeah, the third-party things, they got options. Rail Racer would have been cool, but that would have been pretty wild had that one won. Yeah, and Magmatron, that was a really interesting item. I think that item was largely developed by Takara. I think both those combiners were designed by Takara, not with Hasbro's help, but when they made them, they were so cool. Yeah, we'll see how that ends up. That was a really weird combo figure, just because the way it all, the organic forms going together. I just want an update for Thunderblast, the boat lady. Yeah, she's quite a shell former, isn't she? That's cool, though. We'll see. I'm sure someday she will get her due. They can't always just do RC and Nightbird and the Kabuki Jet, We'll see. So, good one, Claudio. Thoughts on Rescue Bot's chase? I always wondered when the time would come when those characters would be presented in a more traditional Transformers vernacular. So the time has come. I think that's cool. If it's a continuity, it can be through all the lenses of that continuity. So makes sense to me that they would do that. I don't have a connection to that character like I do Prowl or Red Alert or some other emergency vehicle, but it's been around a long time, so why not? Why not try see what's up with that? The head is a little something's odd about it, but I can't put my finger on it yet. I didn't look at it too close, but yeah, I think they lost the charm of the goggles or the glasses. Keep a hard edge face, but maybe keep that softer, fun, almost optimistic eye area would have been something I noticed right away. Yeah, the animated characters look cool. Honestly, Eric and Derek did such a good job back in the day. It took me a minute to look at them and really see if they were new figures, redeco with more paint, or what. But they look pretty good. Again, I'm glad we're not shying away from animated in any way. It's part of the continuities, and I'm glad they're doing them. Where can you watch animated? I don't know where you can see animated. Yeah, the Boulder toy would be cool. Maybe they'll do one every couple of years and they'll get the whole team in, modern vernacular. It'd be pretty cool. Yeah, Leo Breaker would be cool. I don't have any ideas on the repaint other than some of the ones that have already been thrown out there. Tubi and Pluto. All right. I got Pluto, I believe. Probably have Tubi also, but all right. Thank you. So Optimus got the pun intended prime spot today because he won the little contest there. And I don't think I got anything new. I think I rearranged a little bit, but nothing new. Yeah, wing pack for Optimus would be cool. Yeah, the all of it that's still going, Masterpiece and some of these things, and now we're reissuing different things. It's amazing. All of it still has its place, but I guess I was dealing with G1 and different things, so long time has gone by. Shari, how are you? £2 super chat, thank you. Do you mind questions not Transformer related? Sure. Toy related, ideally. Yeah, I am a full access toy pop culture discusser of anything, but we usually bust it all down to Transformers, and that's fine. But we can talk about anything. Who did the toy designs of the 2001 RID toys? Well, that depends on which items you're talking about. Kobayashi did the Carr brothers. I think, I don't want to misspeak, but I think Kunihiro, I don't know if, but I don't want to speak out of turn, but the whole Takara team. Would have been cool to see a trailer for Animated Prime. Yeah, maybe. I have a particular opinion about trailers that it's a big box. It's weight. It doesn't, unless you put it full of feature, and then you're really spending a lot of money on that thing. It's just the budget and scale killer, man. It just is rough. It's rough to do those trailers, man. What about a Titan class animated Omega Supreme? I guess that would be cool. The further and further you get away from a given series, it kind of can get tougher and tougher to do big items from that series unless they have a real important impact. So I don't know if Omega Supreme from animated would make the cut, but we'll see. Okay, let's see. What's a Batman comic character you wish you could have done a toy of? I pitched, what was it called? Lockup? I think it was like a Arkham Asylum kind of police jailer guy. I tried to get him made. It didn't happen. And then I wanted to do a Legends of the Dark Knight Raja Ghul with the Lazarus Pit kind of green zombie something or other kind of vibe with a sword. But that never happened. And I wanted to do a Two-Face in Night Force Ninjas that would have been half samurai, half ninja. But that didn't happen either. I do have, I think, a drawing somewhere of that. Not even a board. So those are a couple. We made all the Batman and Robins we could possibly make. So my options are usually the villains that we weren't able to get to. Do you think the Beyblade live action movie will actually be released? I didn't know about that, but I believe it when I see it. All right, Shari, you mentioned in the podcast about having to go to legal QA for many reasons. Can you discuss any of those reasons? It's interesting to know how toys are scrutinized behind the scenes for safety. Sure. On the safety side, everything gets tested for its materials, for its kinetic energy, stored energy. It gets tested on its general weight and how kids are expected to play with it. So a Starscream is tested different than an Optimus because there's the expectation that you're going to hold the jet up higher than you're going to hold a truck that's going to be rolling on the ground. So it has different conditions. So every item has any number of, logical watch-outs, pinch points, just spring-loaded elements. So you would go and sometimes there'd be things where it would just have to be talked through, and maybe you would throttle the spring so it wouldn't shoot as hard or fast. Maybe maybe you made a claim that it was going to do a particular thing and it may not be able to do it. So do you want to keep that claim or do we have to change something? Those are some of the reasons. Hasbro had a very robust QA department and engineering for the safety side. On the legal side, that was more about trademark and patents and copywriting in some regards, mostly trademark and registering, and patents Were we overtop someone else's patents? Were we defending our own patents? New concepts, like in the Beyblade long form Toy Armada, we talk about how legal almost didn't understand how Beyblade was able to be sold, because they just thought it was very dangerous in general, and just the risk was too high. So you just explain to them the process, because these are all divisions. No one has the right to tell, Brian Goldner brought Beyblade over, so it's not like legal can say, hey, we're not doing this, but they want to know, like, how are we doing this, and how are they doing it in their market, and what are the claims we're going to make, and that kind of thing. So you would work with them on, and I say bring up Beyblade because, that's a sharp, spinning, fast thing. So I hope that answered your question there, Shari. What do you think about Hasbro doing streams with the designers? I think it's great. I think that's a modern way to communicate directly to your consumers, your fan base or whatever. I don't know if it's the brand's fan base. I was allowed to do it in a small, granular way when we did the DVD extras and Toy Fair magazine interviews, being at Comic-Cons and things like that. But now everybody knows who's designing these things in some cases, because they're made for kind of a collector, very knowledgeable person in some cases. So people want to know who designed the product. So you might as well have the people who designed them talk. So I think that's cool. Princeton Phalanx, have you ever thought about crowdfunding to make your own figures? Not really. I like creating figures. I don't necessarily like I had a whole giant infrastructure at Hasbro for a long time, almost 2 decades. It's hard for me to wrap my head around being a one-man band, or just help, or hooker by crook, working with people. Daunting. That's daunting. So I don't know. Probably never say never, but probably not my destiny. Any other toys you made that you want to see a modern remake for? Well, you know what? We're doing pretty well. Armada, Optimus, Megatron. We got Override, Hot Shot, Starscream. You could make the case that the Cybertron Optimus has already been made. So on my short list after that is Vector Prime, Tidal Wave, which looks like we're going to get a Tidal Wave. Vector Prime's been hinted at, but we haven't seen it yet. Some sorts of Minicons or a Minicon pack would be awesome. Got Energon Megatron now, so that's pretty cool. That pushes, I guess, Energon Scorponok up in my book. We have gotten Cybertron Metroplex, right? Is that the big blue guy? So they've done that. It'd be cool maybe to see Crumple Zone. Would be cool. Maybe with his little buddy. Those would be a few of them. Sure, I got more, but Claudio, I hope someday they do a Voyager Windblade. In the comic, she has the same height as Starscream. Yeah, and she's always been kind of small, hasn't she, in toy form? Deluxe, or they've made her a few times, but they really haven't. They haven't taken risks with the price point. When was the last time Hasbro has made a new brand? It depends what you mean by new brand. They make new segments of brands all the time, and Nerf and whatnot. Hanazuki a few years ago, they launched something like that. Tough for me to say. I don't pay attention as much. Hello, Iced 1138. I remember seeing some of the attempts to bring a G1 Megatron reissue over here in the 2000s. Were you involved with any of those? Well, we did the classics Megatron that looked a lot like the Nerf blaster. We could never bring in anything like the Masterpiece Megatron they did, anything that looked too realistic and realistic coloring, and didn't matter the scale. Almost got almost ran into some issues with one of the small Megatron pistols that we made. We made like a tiny, I don't know if it was a Legends or if it was the 20th anniversary. But it was seen as, it was almost too close. It was almost seen as replica, even though it was tiny. And it was going to butt up against some of the rules, but at the last minute, it was fine. But, yeah, even a non-transforming, different scaled weapon is not really allowed. Or at least then, or at least that was the attitude. Tough to say. Tough to say. Archer Monster custom vinyls would be closer to something I'd be into. That's for sure. Or like Little Muscle Men, something like that. Articulated action figures, probably not my jam. Probably not my jam. Yeah, Matt, I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. I scheduled a stream and then started a different one or something, and that, I apologize. Yeah, projectiles are kind of a kid thing. We put them in for kid action, and now kids aren't buying the toys, so you don't need to spend the effort to put projectiles in there, really. It's funny at times change. It wouldn't see a Jungle Force, Captain America, or Arctic Edition Iron Man, Marvel Legends these days. No. I don't know why. I mean, I have my theories on why, but it's a shame that we can't. You talk about how a jet is lighter than a truck to swoosh it around. Then why is Cybertron Starscream the size of Primus? Whose idea was that? The jet doesn't have to be lighter. It just means that it's tested differently. So when you drop it, if it lands on its nose, it can be reapplied or something like that. It's not necessarily lighter. Cybertron Starscream size in general, we just wanted to have a main character be large, and we had done larger Optimuses and Megatron somewhat, and so we just took a gamble on that one. It's a strange one. I don't know. I like it. Thank you for your answer. I like to ask things outside of Transformers, which I suppose leads on to ask, what are your hobbies? My hobbies, I draw and paint for fun daily. That's kind of what I am about. I collect books and art, reference books and things. I'm a very visual person. I like to have a lot of reference around. So that's kind of some of my hobbies. My wife isn't always happy about that because my hobbies and my work kind of don't have a separator, often. So that could be a problem. Yeah, new Vector Prime would be cool. Did the discussion ever come up when you were in charge to start a HasLab type crowd fund? I know nothing obviously ever did happen, but did your team ever discuss it? T-Formers 2002, that's a good question. We didn't necessarily discuss crowdfunding. We did our crowd voting for the Hall of Fame for a while. That was close in some regards in that zone. I spent a little bit of time there was a period where, the Nike ID and Puma had a custom shoe format, and K-Swiss did too, where you could pick your colors of your parts of the different shoes and pick your colors, your materials, lay it all out. I made a really sweet black on black Puma shoe, black on black on black Puma shoe. And I remember pitching an idea where we would maybe take some sort of smaller jet mode model and offer different options. This was the pitch, that you could pick the wings with different deco and maybe pick different nose cones, maybe pick different faces, so that you would be able to create a whole host of customizable, at least from the factory standpoint, robots. There's a lot of complications with that and limitations. So that's the closest thing that I worked on that had any kind of fan vote or customization at the time. So in the background, what you should always think about is, whatever you think you know what's happening right now, they're layering up multiple years of ideas and research and looking for new things and new materials. So that was some of the things I did on the background. The aligned continuity was part of it. I was pitching the movie for a few years. That was just a subset kind of, well, let's pitch the movie, see if someone's interested. Worked on the ride for a while. So you'll have these little side projects that you're always building towards that people don't even know about. So that was one of them, this customization or boutique purchasing. Yeah, all the 13, that'd be something. Yeah, the larger female figures, they seem to shy away from. I mean, in my era, there was clear research and things that avoided it. I don't know why now, when it's more of collector mentality. Nothing wrong with Strika if you do a quality item. The Legend Scale Megatron gun had to have an orange cap. There you go, Matt. Yeah, I knew we had made one. Are you currently working on anything new that you mentioned about, or something you have done recently? Well, Princeton, I freelance for some companies I can't really talk about, but I've been doing the instruction art, as everybody knows. So I'll show a few of those. This looks like hell. By the time you see the finished thing, it's going to be pretty good. But that's a Minicon set that's coming down the pipe. I got Rodimus Prime, Waspinator, and Battle Ravage still here. Still working on some of those. So that's really what I've been doing. I've been working on my own project that is, I got to get it done, called Vester Force. And then really I've just been doing these instruction drawings because they seem to be really popular. So here's my latest flattening stash. This is just the ones that I like. Got a whole pile here underneath my blotter. And then there's a box. I've gotten 3 5+ pound dumps from T-Formers 2002. I think McCringle hooked me up, and another fellow from Instagram. A lot of people have reached out with 2 or 5 or 10 or 1, but these guys really had dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens. So really cool. Been very helpful to get the substrate to work on, so that is awesome. So that's kind of what I've been working on. Do you like semi-truck or fire truck Optimus more? Oh man, Ultra Prime 12. It really comes down for me. What's the intent? What's the story? What's going on? Is there a good reason why he would have to have that form to tell stories? And that's where I would go. If he needs to be a fire truck and fly, that's great. If he needs to be a red T-Rex, that's fine too. I'll be up for anything if the story is there and it's sound. You guys are awesome with the reveal the shield. We got Hunt for the Decepticons. Boy, we could just sit here for an hour and just put all the sublines and tags on here. J of W. $5 super chat. Ask a question, please. I'm happy to talk about whatever. But thank you. It's great to hear some discussions about sneakers. That's my main hobby right there. Yeah, I have some sneaker friends, and I inherited through working at Hasbro some of those Nike deals we made. I ended up with a lot of interesting shoes. And then I kind of did make a lot of custom shoes with all the different companies back in the day. Yeah, I didn't even know custom softball glove, which was pretty cool. So yeah, I saw what Nike ID was doing with the different options, and I'm like, how could we do that? And you do a little research, and it doesn't go anywhere every time, but yeah, it would be, if you ever been down to Disney and they had the Mr. Potato Head, build the Mr. Potato Head, or the R2D2, the droids, really, something like that. A little more complicated because of the nature of transformation, but I think it could have been something. And I picked a plane because it had the big wing surface so that you could put graphics and flags and camo that would be seen from a top view. Sometimes a car from the top doesn't look great. It looks great from the side, but how does that look in package? It's short, and so that's why I talked in terms of a jet, to give you some insight as to why I picked a jet. I never had the Megatron, but I learned about the feature later. At one toy fair around Combiner Wars, an exec asked how fans would react to a buy your own customizable combiner. I had no idea how it'd work. Yeah, I don't remember that one. That one seems tricky. Did you ever foresee the future that we're living in, where Transformers is mostly modernized retakes of older toys versus Transformer rebooting every 3 years to new theme? Yeah, at times. I mean, I can kind of see both points, but to me, it's been a long 10 years. It's only been in these last 2 years with Legacy, in my mind, that they've opened it back up to doing things, getting away from G2, G1. But I will say this. I mean, they got these rock vehicle things, so they're trying something new. They did the bone characters. I like that. That's as good as anything. So no worries there. But they're not as fun new things. They're not priority new things. They're not lead character new things. They're kind of a nice little extra taste. If you've had a lot of this for a long time, have a little of this, and you'll have one or two, and that's fine. That's very different than bringing minicons into the scene or something where you can really bring a different type of newness in, which is unfortunate. I'm sure they would love to, but they're being held back for various reasons. I mean, Transformers now has 40 years of great characters, 40 years of great stories, a non-aligned continuity. So you have to pick the best parts of each of those continuities. There's a lot of good stuff there. A lot of stuff that has never been redone or hasn't been done show accurate or was done really stiff because of the technology of the toys at the time or the features that was built into them. So why, I mean, as much as I do sit here and complain, oh man, these guys can't do anything new, they're not allowed, why there's already so much built up need and demand and interest in some of these other characters. You almost don't need to create new and do that heavy lifting, explaining who they are and why they're there and everything. So, I don't know. I do like the rebooting every couple of years and just kind of keep it going, keep it fresh. But, I can see both sides. Hey, David. What's your dream Fusor, J of W? Dream Fusor, like a remake? Um, I mean, I'd probably go Quick Strike, although, I told myself when I set this Optimus up, oh, I won't touch the books today because maybe he'll fall over or something. Here I am touching the books. Anywho, Fusors. All right. Oh yeah. No, we gotta do Troika, right? The bowl. That would have to be one. I love Buzzclaw. I love Bantor. Oh my god, they're all good. Noctoro. Terragator. Come on. These are there's too many good ones. It'd be cool if they like did them and then like use the same two animals but totally redesigned it in a modern way. That'd be cool. Do you know if any Transformer toys were designed in England or is it all USA, Japan? Good question. For all right, for the time period that was, I believe, I believe 1990. I think a lot of the, where is it? Yeah. Okay. So Pyro, Clench, Iron Fist, Calicar. Those ones that weren't designed in Japan were designed in England by a guy named Martin, who has passed on several years ago now. So he was the connective tissue at a time when that contract had to be honored, and he was the one who did them. I can't tell you in granular detail who did what, though, or how much he did, or I'd have to talk to Yoke-san about that. But there was a period about a year where at Stockley Park in England, Transformers were developed. Yeah, good question. Who's a character I'd like to see in a Transformer movie? Oh, man, I don't know. They've done a lot of them. Yeah, I haven't seen any of Earthspark, but I've been around the merry-go-round a few times, so it's tough to pay attention to those new shows. Have you connected Armada Overload to Legacy Armada Prime yet? I have not, because I don't have one. But my understanding is the plug is there, so that's cool. With the new Transformers reactive game coming up, yeah, maybe they'll get some new guys in there. Yeah, the past does go before the future. And it's easier in a world where you're selling to adult collectors and large and or enthusiasts who really know their stuff. It's easier to give them what's in the shows and what's in the past than to do heavy lifting and see if they're going to like what the idea you have and do the research and commercialize and all that. It's kind of easier if you just throw stuff out that people already know. What is that book? Oh, which book? Which book are we talking about? So this is the This came out in 2001. There's been a couple different versions of it. Here's another version. So Generations Deluxe is the one you're likely to get now. It has a little bit more art in the back. Stuff like that. It is basically Japan's answer to a series guide of, or the toy guide of everything that came out in Japan. So this is the one that I've had since the beginning, when it actually came out. This is my copy going all the way back. So that's what those are. And then this is the Beast Wars, just perfect guide. So it mostly covers the show and then has the toy stuff in the back and episodic information. I'm a reference hound, so I like all that stuff. If I could design one more Transformer, who'd it be? I don't know. I don't really think in terms like that. It'd be fun to work on the Vector Prime, I suppose. Yeah. Aaron, could you please expand on honoring the contract with the UK market? Yeah, there's an obligation to do a certain amount of business every year between Hasbro and Takara to fulfill the obligation of the deal terms. So new product had to be developed every year, and there was a period where, for whatever reason, something was going on, changes were happening in the Rhode Island space, and so it got put over to the UK team to deliver those items that would honor the contract. So that is what it was. Yeah. So had to create a certain amount of new business every year. Sweet. I didn't know they did an update for that Transformers Generation book. Yeah, they've done at least 2. They may have done a third one. When those Batman and versus Predators comics came out, was there ever talk of doing a 2-pack? No, it is very difficult to do 2. The nature of toys are what they are, margins being what they are, what you can sell a toy for, and how much money you can benefit the company from. Stuff like that back in the 90s, the deal terms with Warner Brothers and then doing a separate contract for Predator. It's not like companies want to work together. They want the full pie, right? So I don't think it really ever came up. Do you like the concept of the new missing link Optimus Prime? I look at it very much the same way I look at the new retro He-Man stuff, now with knees and elbows. Okay, great. If that's what you need, if that, changes the buying thing off for you, then that's fine. I'm not a person that thinks articulation makes something better, but I think I can accept I'm in the minority there, and I'm kind of old school in the feature set versus that kind of articulation. But still pretty cool. All right. J of W, no problem. No problem. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, it's definitely not kid-based product as much anymore, that's for sure. Would you change Optimus's colors or leave them? I probably wouldn't go so earthy. That orange is a bit much, but so is those chrome parts. But that's just me. I don't know. Don't know if I'd have to change it. Did you ever get put on a job to design something you didn't like, believe in, or have free reign to turn jobs down? Some things aren't as fun, as other things. It's not as fun to do Batgirl's cycle as it is to do a Batmobile, but I never had anything I didn't believe in or couldn't handle or didn't not everything's as, super sexy, but I don't think I had that situation. I've worked with some designers who, because of their personal views, didn't really want to work on G.I. Joe, just because that just wasn't where they wanted to put their kid delight focus, right? And that would be fine. You could make that kind of thing, but I don't think anybody said I'm not going to work on that. You get through the boring stuff and just keep going. You can accurately rip him apart piece by piece. I don't know who I'm ripping apart. The Ironhide. That'd be funny. Are there any designs you think stand up so well today that they can't be improved on? RID Optimus feels that way to me. RID Optimus is pretty good. That's a solid entry if you're gonna have that kind of question. I think we've seen that anything can be remade, even things like the 20th anniversary Optimus, which I thought was as cool as it could get. We've had a few more attempts at a very classic G1 big 12-inch Optimus, right? So I don't know about can't be improved upon. I think I've learned over the long years that everything can eventually be improved upon. But I do agree RID Optimus kind of stands alone. Maybe that original Beast Wars Ape Optimus Primal, might also stand on its own. I think Star Saber kind of is its own thing, but it also gets convoluted with the story, right? Do they stand alone because you also know the story? I don't know. So where are we at? All right, we're almost 11:30. So I appreciate the super chats. Thank you, JW and Shoddy. I appreciate you. Good conversations today. These toys look cool. I don't know when they're coming out, unfortunately. But if you want to check out archermonster.com, I have my Robots Sketchbook Color Edition up there. A bunch of Unicron trilogy inspired characters. So check that out. I also have the original artwork. It's not all on instruction sheets. I have these kinds of things as well. So you can check those out, archermonster.com. And on Instagram is where most of my stuff gets put up. So archermonster_creative. So if you were asked to work on a board game, would you have been interested in that? No, game design is kind of its own thing. Game mechanics and rules and that kind of thing. I'm more on the visual side. Maybe the illustration planning for board games, but not the actual gameplay stuff. That's not really my jam. And as a creative person, it's as important to know what you do well as what you do not do well or don't like to do. I like the random questions, no problem. I'm here to talk. I'm here to answer and share some of my knowledge in between the big cons and whatnot and have a direct communication. Also sell some sketchbooks and some art. That's always good too. But the ongoing dialogue, I always say with the Transformer fans, is not a problem. Hey, I like the Batgirl cycle. Yeah, I did that one with the weird scissor gimmick. And yep. One of my few vehicles. Yeah, this shirt is kind of for sale. I think I gotta check my merch store, Toy Armada merch store .com. I'm not sure I like the files that I have right now, but in general, yes, it is available. Sweatshirts and different things. So thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for popping in. Sorry for the duplicate beginning there. I apologize. I'll try to do better next time. One more thing before we all take off. I am going to move the day. Sorry if this is new information. You can still vote on the YouTube community page if you have an opinion as to Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday. When we might move this thing. Still going to be at 10 o'clock, but I got too many family obligations on Friday nights that it just is a tough night to help manage all of those things. So check out that voting and share your opinion. Right now, Monday is, I believe, winning. So let me know what you think about that. And we will continue the conversation next week. Might be Monday. I don't know. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you. See you soon. Oh, TF